This is Rex
Hello.
and Cole,
Sorry.
and we're gonna talk about some Fantasy Star Online too.
Yes, Phantasy Star Online 2, specifically New Genesis, but I will be talking about some of my experiences with some new Phantasy Star content as well. Um, but yes, so literally like this morning, the Phantasy Star Global YouTube channel had a stream where they talked about sort of Phantasy Star 3, but kind of like a half step. It's very strange. You can still technically play it within Phantasy Star Online 2, but it's like an entirely new game. Um, and it's called New Genesis. It's an open world sort of Phantasy Star experience where you can run around in a giant sort of huge, well, I guess open world, like a big foresty kind of area, at least in the trailer, and sort of go to different zones, fight enemies, kind of what you'd expect out of more of a, out of a open world MMO experience rather than a sort of instance-based sort of thing like the Phantasy Star Online 2 experience was. Yeah, and that we've actually known for a while. That actually has been out there for a while, but what they were talking about.
What does this new Genesis entail?
So what is the new? So what what they announced for New Genesis is more like sort of deeper information. The first things first is like, none of your stuff carries over to New Genesis. This is like you start at level 1. It's a new game essentially.
Wow.
This is just the only things that carry over, and I think the only reason they're calling it Phantasy Star Online 2 is because all your cosmetics carry over from the original PSO2, and you can go back to the original PSO2 and collect items and cosmetics and stuff in that game, and then bring it into New Genesis.
So is there going to be crossover content, or is it new content, all new content?
So you can take cosmetics between games.
In terms of like gameplay, like
gameplay,
like raids or whatever they call it over instances, or
New Genesis is weird. I guess you could say raids, quote unquote, would be like urgent quests where they sort of happen at random or at random times or at like pre-scheduled sort of moments, and it'll be like, oh, fight this boss, do this quest. But in this case, there are urgent quests that can happen in the open world, and it will teleport you somewhere, which is a new announcement. That's something that we just learned. Mm-hmm. But they're not like related to any previous urgent quests. So there's nothing like I think if we get a chance to get to it, I actually have some video of me doing an urgent quest in PSO, not New Genesis. Mm-hmm. That's entirely separate. All of the urgent quests, it looks like, are going to take place on the open world itself. So, like right there, it already sets a hard split between new content, old content. And from what it sounds like they're saying here, nothing carries over other than cosmetics. All of the gameplay stuff you're going to be doing is new. All the classes, while they're technically the same names, like you still have Gunner, Ranger, Fighter. They're not. They're entirely different. They play entirely differently than their Phantasy Star Online normal counterparts. Yeah.
What? So is it already out, or when's it released?
No, it's not out yet. They're announcing a beta for the graphics engine overhaul. So that's another big thing. Is that
a new engine, huh?
Yeah, new graphics engine.
Awesome.
So this game is 8 years old, right?
Right.
So for the new Genesis kind of release, they're going to be updating the graphics engine, and that's going to actually carry over back into the original game. So when they actually update this, you can sign up for the beta to sort of update the graphics engine. Yeah, so this is me doing some urgent quests in PSO2 normal. They need to figure out what to call the original game, so I don't just call it PSO2. Maybe just PSO2 and New Genesis. We'll just say that. So for now, I won't say like Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. I'll just say Genesis. So anyway,
you can just call PSO2 original.
Original, yeah. Maybe I'll just say original and New Genesis. That works. But PSO2
New Genesis.
So yeah, a lot of it's just kind of like they talk about what in the stream they talked about like what they're including and what they're removing, and it's a lot of sort of inside, or I shouldn't say inside baseball, but it's stuff that you'd only really care about if you're a Phantasy Star fan, which I think is maybe a problem for them. Because I can talk about all this new stuff that they're adding, right? Like, oh, yeah, new urgent quests. They have e-trials, a region mag, and a lot of this stuff, I think, it's interesting to people that have played Phantasy Star Online too.
Right.
Yeah. So they're not marketing to new people, other than like,
How big is the community on PSL2?
I know that in Japan it's dying. It's not as big as it is here in the U.S. because they literally released it a year ago after 8 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big community. I see people playing it all the time, but or I should say, I see a nice and healthy sort of player count every time I log in. But like, it's definitely not as big in Japan because they've had it for 8 years. We've only had it in the U.S. I guess outside of Japan, basically, for about, I'd say.
What took us so long?
I wish I could tell you. They never told us.
Huh.
They just did it. One day they just decided to release it, and now we have it.
Is this subscription based?
It's not actually. It's free to play. Entirely free to play. Actually, there's no content that you're locked out of for not being a free.
How much is the game?
How much is the game? What do you mean? Like how much is like?
Do you have to buy a base game?
No, it's free. It is straight up free.
Is there ads or how they support it? Oh, there's
so cosmetics, right?
Yeah, they buy cosmetics.
So yeah, and it's kind of like the loot box system where like you sort of buy their in-game currencies, and then you can sort of spend it to try and get your favorite bikini outfit for your attractive waifu. Yeah, it's like that.
There's no pay to win at least though, right?
No. There's nothing you can do that. I mean, and to be fair, there's no real PvP. There is, but your level carries over, and everything that you could get from the main game, like that might say be pay to win, doesn't actually carry over to the PvP mode. That's all actually balanced for PvP exclusively. So yeah, the game's is about as open and as non-pay to win as you could possibly make it. I'm actually kind of shocked that they were able to get so much money out of it. It's one of Sega's most successful titles.
Really?
In Japan, yeah. So it's a big deal.
Is it free over there?
It's free over there too. Yeah, same thing. It's just the thing is that the gacha system, right? The loot box system for those outfits and stuff like that. That's such a big part of the game that I think they're able to make money that way. Pretty well. And, like,
you want your character to look unique. If everyone looks the same, it's no fun.
It's kind of lame. Yeah, like I'm lucky that since I played a cast, which is like the robot race, there's a lot more options that you can kind of get away with for free. Since you're basically like a little, honestly, I kind of describe you as like a little like action figure. You can like remove like arms and legs and sort of attach new ones on, and so you can sort of make your own dude and color it, and you look super unique without actually having to spend that much money.
You don't have to pay for coloring.
Yeah, you don't. Well, so you get to color yourself for free in the beginning.
Okay.
When you first create your character,
right.
But then you have to get a color change pass. But you can still swap out parts for free.
How much have you spent on this?
I've actually spent a little bit because I bought the. I wanted to try the premium service. They're sort of
They have a premium service, which is what's the difference?
It basically grants you some EXP bonuses. So you get like a free EXP bonus to like on top of the ones that you get from just playing every day. But You get that. You get some more storage, and storage is actually a big deal.
Yeah.
Having storage, paying for storage is a pretty big deal in Phantasy Star.
So
you get a lot of stuff.
if you pay for premium, do you lose it after you stop paying for it?
Do you lose anything? Like, do I lose my storage or do I lose premium? Oh yeah, you lose premium, and you don't lose your storage, but you lose the ability to put anything new into it.
So you can pull stuff out only.
You can pull stuff out only, yeah, and I think that's a good way to do it. You also get a sort of player housing system that you get access to when you pay for premium, but there's an easy way to get access to it without premium. You can buy little tickets using in-game currency. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot to like. I'd say the main thing that I like, and I guess we can talk about like what I've been recently doing in the game because I feel like that is, if I wanted to sell somebody on it, this is what I'd say. Is that I've been trying out their sort of Scion classes, which are like their sort of ascended super classes when you've, met certain conditions with like leveling up other classes. And they're basically like Devil May Cry characters. And I think that's like the reason why I like this MMO so much is it's not like a World of Warcraft. It's not a like tab targeting kind of very simple combat system.
What do you use to play with it? Do you play mouse keyboard or?
No, I play with the controller because that is so much more fun, in my opinion. And it's basically it's a character action game. You have a dodge, you have a actual perfect dodge system. So like if I dodge at the right moment, and I do it at the beginning of this video, but you get little bonuses for doing that. You can actually like chain combos together. So there are certain moves like in this character or this class called the Phantom. You can actually have like skills, right? Like you can see on my little hotbar there. I've got like a couple skills there, and actually I can change what skills I have access to by pulling a trigger. And if I do another skill, it's called like a weapon action. Before I use any of my normal skills, it actually changes how they work. And so you can sort of string together combos where you are using your weapon action to sort of modulate like what skills or how they behave, and sort of moving characters around, like knocking them into the air. Obviously you can't do it to a guy like this, but you could like knock them into the air, and sort of do things to them up there, and then like push them back down, put a mine down there so that when they hit the ground again they explode. I'm not good enough to really do any cool combos, but you definitely feel a lot more. You movement control. You feel a lot more fluid. It feels a lot more engaging than a traditional MMO. It's probably not as technical and doesn't require as much teamwork, but if you just want to essentially, hang out with a bunch of people and sort of, it almost feels like skateboarding, it's like you're just hanging out doing tricks, showing off. If you like that experience and you just like, a good action combat system, this is probably your game. Like if you don't like traditional MMOs, they feel too boring and slow, and you want something that's a little bit more like, a Devil May Cry combat system or like a Nier Automata, then this is definitely your game. I know I'm like going. I admit, like I like this game a lot, and there's a lot to it. So I can't condense it all into one thing. I was just gonna talk about like New Genesis and its like updates, but like when you expand out to like the whole game, it kind of gets. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like there's a whole casino in the game.
Maybe we'll talk about it some more later.
Maybe we'll have like a more like in-depth thing. I think when New Genesis comes out, that is probably a good starting point too. That'll be a while.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when early access pops up or whatever.
When beta comes up or something.
Yep. That's it for Phantasy Star New Genesis this week, and we'll try to follow up with more stories about it in the future, depending on.
I'll promise I'll be less rambly.
Depending on what happens with Phantasy Star Online too. So thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching.